mental health and wellness, normal reactions, or possible disorder. So, how can we know when a normal reaction to loss, stress, trauma, or unharmful substance use turns into a mental health problem or disorder? The first thing to consider is whether the feelings and behaviors are a temporary response to an event or situation. If someone develops symptoms of depression, anxiety, or PTSD without loss, a stressful event or situation, or a trauma, this could indicate a mental illness. If they do develop these symptoms as a normal response to events, but then the symptoms persist without improvement, this also indicates that they may have moved from a normal reaction into illness.
Hi there. I'm back with another example. Recently, my grandmother passed away. I was really close to her, and I felt sad for a while. I didn't feel like eating or going out. Now, this may sound like depression, but it's a normal part of grief. A friend of mine also lost someone close to them, but he stopped doing the things that he once enjoyed, like joining us for football, and he just stayed home and barely talks to us. This has gone on for over a year, so from what I've learned, it sounds like he may have depression. I'll reach out and ask how he's doing.
A second consideration is how much the symptoms disrupt everyday life, relationships, or work. We look a lot at functioning. Are the person's symptoms affecting their relationships, their work, their ability to enjoy life? Again, short-term changes as the result of negative events are okay. But if they persist, that suggests a serious mental health condition. Finally, how severe are the symptoms? Mild sadness, anxiety, avoidance, or substance use are unlikely to be a disorder. But severe symptoms or frequent drug use is a cause for concern, especially if accompanied by despair and wanting to end one's life. Seeking help, getting treatment for mental illness. What distinguishes treatment from psychosocial support is that treatment requires an ongoing relationship between a provider and an individual, or a small group with similar problems. In other words, a person with a mental health disorder usually cannot solve this problem alone. They need the help of a trained provider or counselor. This would mean someone who has been trained in use of medications, or more commonly, in psychotherapy or talk therapy. There are multiple types of psychotherapy, including cognitive behavioral therapy, cognitive processing therapy, interpersonal psychotherapy, and behavioral activation. All of these different techniques aim to change thinking and behaviors from unhelpful to helpful forms through instruction and exercises. The good news is that for most people, their mental illness is relatively simple to treat. Talk therapy can be provided in person, or over the phone, or via the internet, and does not require medications or equipment. It's literally just two people talking to each other, and we have found that non-professionals learn to do it very well. Therefore, while mental health is one of the world's major health problems, most conditions can be treated more easily than physical illness, leading to broad health, economic, and social benefits. A word on cultural variation. Research and experience find that people all over the world tend to experience many of the same mental health disorders. Depression, anxiety, PTSD, substance misuse, and other disorders occur across cultures and so appear to be the result of being human, rather than any cultural variation. However, how people describe their symptoms and their experience does vary, and these descriptions can seem to indicate culturally unique symptoms when they are not. For example, hopelessness can be an important symptom of depression and anxiety, but is not directly translatable in some languages, including in parts of Africa. When clinicians first worked in these areas, It was suspected that these feelings were not something that local people experienced. Later, they heard of the feeling of having your cheek in your palm, which turned out to be a metaphor for hopelessness. Similarly, in the United States, sadness may be referred to as feeling blue, which people from other cultures might not interpret as indicating an emotion. The point is that we have more in common across the world than differences, but how we express this commonality can be different. We need to pay attention to local descriptions and understandings. Knowledge check: recognizing and dealing with mental health problems. Mental illness affects functioning and is more severe than normal distress. Common conditions include depression, anxiety, PTSD, and substance misuse, with symptoms such as persistent sadness, intrusive thoughts, and harmful substance use. To distinguish normal distress from mental illness, consider if symptoms are temporary or persistent, assess their impact on daily life and relationships, and evaluate their severity. Persistent and severe symptoms indicate a potential mental illness. Treatment involves ongoing relationships with trained providers, such as through psychotherapy. Effective treatments include talk therapy, and non-professionals can be trained to provide support. Understanding cultural variations in symptom descriptions is crucial for effective support. Now, let's move on to the next module: